Humankind. Have you ever wanted to shape it within your own image? Well, the game Humankind allows you to do just that. Hello and welcome to the Critically Curious. I'm a Monk, and today we're going to be reviewing / giving you my first impressions of Humankind. Now, full disclosure, this is a 4X strategy game. This is an absolutely gigantic game. For anyone that is familiar with the modern day Civilization, they know just what to expect when playing this game. It offers very much of the similar aspect of Civilization and brings with it its own unique features as well. Now, at the moment, at only about 32 hours into this game, I really don't feel like I can give you a full review for this game because it's a gigantic game, and every single time I start a playthrough or two, I'll get a few years into it and then feel like I want to restart because I've learned new things and new features. It is simply one of those games it's going to take a very long time to actually completely master, and therefore I don't feel like I can give you a full review. But what I can do is tell you what I've discovered and what I think about the game so far. Now, Humankind has been both published and developed by Amplitude Studios, and it will set you back around £45 depending on which platform you're buying it on. This game can be played on the PlayStation, the Xbox, and of course PC, first releasing on Steam in 2021. This is actually available for old gen and new gen consoles. Now, I've played this on the Xbox Series S and X, and in my time playing this, it's run incredibly smoothly. Now, these are typically kind of games that as you get down to the end stages of the game, they can become very, very laggy, but so far, so good. This game has run very, very smooth. No dashboards or anything like that, and no gripes to really complain about. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a 4X strategy game. This is designed to be played extremely slow. There is a lot to cover and a lot for you to do. You can create your own civilization, and it's very unique because within creating your own civilization, you combine up to 60 historical cultures as you lead your people from ancient times all the way to the modern age. And with that, this game's actually rather unique because as you earn culture, as you start to, really stamp down on what it is your civilization is about, you're able to mold them. And perhaps in one culture, in one era of your history, you may be modeling yourself after the Vikings, but yet in the next era, you could model yourself on the Huns. It really is up to you how you want to take your civilization, what perks you want to kind of take, the way you want to lead them, whether you want to be militaristic, whether you want to be spiritual. It's up to you completely. And I've got to be honest, at first, you're kind of running through this on autopilot, especially if you've ever played Civilization, because you kind of feel like you know what to expect. But this game does throw at you a ton of different features and a ton of different evolving storylines, because as you play through the game, as you play through almost any world, your culture, your history is going to be different from the last playthrough you've done, because you have random in-world events, and how you react to those random in-world events will shape your nation. It's really interesting going from a nomadic tribe to someone who's putting down, huge cities, and watching those cities evolve and expand, watching your troops evolve and get better and more complicated. There's a variety of different tech lines as well. Obviously, you can, when you pop down a city, you want to look at how much construction power it has, or how much food it's bringing in, how much science it's bringing in, and that science could be put down to learning base powers like unlocking the ability to have wills, or unlocking the ability to ride horses, or even write. But then on top of that, you've also got your civics, and unlocking whether, as I said before, whether you are more leaning towards spiritualization, and not only whether you're leaning towards spiritualization, but how you want to do it, whether you want to be the almighty chosen by God leaders, or whether you want to work more as a collective that is done and manipulated by the amount of influence you have managed to build up. And as you progress through your game, you'll build up more and more influence, that being able to, shape your civics, or of course pop down more cities. It all goes from the same currency, which is it's kind of interesting, because you have to find the balance between unlocking a powerful civic to being able to potentially build up another powerful city. And there really are 60 different cultures within the game, because as you progress through the game, you will bump into not only the civilizations that you are molding around, but you'll also bump into those civilizations on the map as well, because of course this is a war in mind game, and you're going to have to constantly fight not only other nations, other empires, but also other nomadic cultures as well. That leads me into the ability of having diplomacy, being able to actually make alliances, being able to forge an alliance through the ages. This game has a really good diplomacy screen where it outlines everything that you want to get out of an alliance, what they're offering in an alliance, and it allows you to, in turn, barter with what each of you will get. And it is certainly one of the better diplomacy screens that I've seen in games like this. I feel like some words should be mentioned about the tutorial in this game as well, because this is a 4X strategy games, and a problem with 4X strategy games is that they can be rather difficult to get into. This game does do actually a very good job of holding your hand and showing you through the the important features within the game. You may not get it all at once. A lot of it is actually voice acted as well. Most of it is tagged with a little bit of text information about what every single little feature does. I quite like that. I quite like the way the tutorial's set up, and every time you encounter anything new, that tutorial is right there helping you along the way. Personally, I found it worked really good. There's certainly worse tutorials out there in 4X strategy games, and this is actually one of the betters. Now, I did actually mention that this is voice acted. I should say it's not fully voice acted. As I said throughout the tutorial, there's little pop-ups there. But what I would say is that there are a lot more cutscenes, a lot more voice notes than I was actually expecting, certainly more than Civilization, which has to be its main game that you could compare the two.
Seems to leave a lot of interpretation of right and wrong, not to mention yours and mine.
And with that, that leads us on to the combat. Now, the combat is relatively simple. You have a number of troops. You go up against their troops, whether it is troops or animals, or even if it is attacking other cities, and you maneuver your troops around a small battlefield, each taking turns. It works pretty good, to be fair. There's also an auto battle feature where you can watch your troops kind of do what they do, and for the most part it works really, really well. It's quite simplistic, but it's quite nice to see that you got a little bit more command over your troops, a little bit of a battlefield as well. I quite like the way the combat's actually set up within Humankind. Now, all this being said, I've got to say that I actually think this is very well worth the money. If you are into 4X strategy games, if you have ever played games like Civilization before, I think you're going to really like this, and I think you're going to like the unique twist that they've kind of given you within Humankind. It really takes that whole genre of game and makes it their own and makes it an evolving story, so much so that I don't think that 2 playthroughs are ever going to be the same again. This does also have online competitive play, which works pretty decently. And when setting up the various different maps and the various different interactions that you want, you have a lot of control over that as well. With huge maps, up to 10 civilizations, you can really have a good old go at it. But fair warned, if you do go on the largest maps with the largest amount of people that you can, it could slow your game down depending on the platform you're playing on. And of course, the length of game you're going to have, it could vary dramatically. But I'm going to give this game a well-earned 7.5 out of 10. Honestly, I like this game a lot. There is most certainly a learning factor to it, but what it offers is unique enough and different enough for me to go out and get this game over perhaps similar titles as well. But if you stuck around to the very end of the review, a big thank you to you. Don't forget to comment red banana down below. Just confuse all those people new to the channel or that didn't watch to the very end. And don't forget, we also have an active and growing Discord. If you want to join and be part of the giveaways that we actually have on the channel, or perhaps just want to share the game you happen to be playing at the moment, the links are down in the description for you. But until next time, I've been a monk, we've been Inquisitor Eculus, and I will see you in the next video real soon. Until then, take it easy and happy gaming.